Hey, Juventini, and welcome back to the All Juvecast channel. And this is episode 164 of the podcast. And we got my man Francisco, who's already pumped up for this one. Look at him go. We got Antonio, so a couple of the usual suspects. And now Kahir joining us, making his debut on the show, who reached out to me through Twitter and wanted to take part in one. Kahir, how you doing, man?
I'm okay, I guess. I'm just really annoyed by this penny pinching going on at the club.
Oh, penny pinching. Juventus? Never. Come on. What are you talking
Uh,
about?
You've kept
I mean,
many queens. You've kept many
full,
queens here.
Well,
full disclosure, I'm probably out of all of us the best qualified to speak about it because I'm of Gujarati descent. I'm Asian. I'm from Leicester of all places. Trust me, nobody does cheap like Leicester.
hey.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get into the penny pinching for sure. But Kahir, what was it like to get first timer stories about how they became fans of Juve? So I'd love to hear your story.
Sure. So the Tevez story is actually a very great link to this because I'm a United fan because of my dad, and I was born the night before Ferguson won his first trophy. United fans, you're welcome. But yeah, but ever since my first memory of football was watching Lippi's Juventus against United. It was finished 1-0 to Juve, but I was automatically bewitched by Del Piero and Zidane, and
Yeah.
it could easily have ended 10-0. And I've always liked both clubs, but I in 2015 is when I started leaning more towards Juve, and after what United did to Mourinho, and what the club has become in that they've become something that I hate. Like, there's a culture of incestuous cronyism, and it's fed by playing to the basest instincts of people, which isn't the club I loved growing up, because United always taught me that you fight till the end, which is Juve's fino alla fine, but you never settle for mediocrity. You never settle for, you don't become insular. And that's what United have become. And I hate those things at a gut level. And so I think it's rather hypocritical of me to support something that goes against everything I stand for as a person.
There you go. And there you have it. So Juve takes over. I love it.
That's
Yeah.
better than mine story. My story is I was changing channels. I'm like, oh, Buffon. Let's go for Juventus.
All right.
But
Okay,
Del
guys.
Piero is my favorite ever player. And just on a final note, one day that really typified my, supporting both clubs was when the day City won the title in 2012. I was living in America at the time, and I heard that news, and I was crying tears and I actually fainted. But then later that day, Del Piero lifting the Scudetto as his last act in Serie A just made me cry a different sort of tears. That this is my favorite ever player. The 6 years since Calciopoli, the hurt, seeing Merda win the treble, seeing Milan with Allegri. I think he broke the streak for Inter. And then Conte, the captain before Del Piero, who lifts it with Buffon, his successor as captain. And then you also had Bonucci, no, not Bonucci, Chiellini in that team. 4 captains, if you think about that, past, present, and future. You just can't really put it any other way, can you?
No, and that's one of the things. Actually, when I talk about the current Juve, is we were pretty fortunate in how seamless it was transitioning through leaders for a period of time. And I've been saying for a bit now, lately, it seems like that next spine isn't quite where it needs to be, other than a couple. But we'll get to all that. But thank you very much for explaining, Kahir. And now we're going to get to the goods. Basically recap the week in news. I know there's frustrations out there in just deals that we feel if they're going to make the moves, they should have been done and handled already. And I know that Francisco, Antonio, and I were talking before we came on live, and let's get to it. Let's get to it right now. Locatelli. So the Locatelli news has been the same since mid-season. Okay, that apparently it's Juve's the spot where he wants to be, and there are other clubs interested or whatnot. The deal's not done. 40 million seems to be the magic number. The latest of news is that Juve is waiting for the price to drop, which to me is hilarious to hear because it's not going to happen, especially going into Euros. If anything, it could get higher. Why on earth would Sassuolo drop their price? So hearing these reports is laughable, and it's also frustrating because, again, for me personally, if Juventus wanted Locatelli, you would get it done. You'd get it done immediately. So, Antonio, let's get you weighing in on Locatelli.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that we drag our heels quite a lot with players that we're chasing. I think we've done it last year with, 2 years ago with Matthias de Ligt. It seemed to go on forever. But yeah, I would have to agree with you. We should get that deal across the line before the Euros start because it's only going to drive his value higher. Let's not be kidded on here. He has been sought after by most major clubs across Europe. Just recently, I heard that Manchester United were looking at him as well. So that's another name that's been added into the list already. So I think if it's true what we hear and he is wanting to come to Juventus, then I don't know what we're waiting on. I mean, I don't understand this kind of lackadaisical approach to sign a player that we really want, apparently. So that deal needs to get done. It should have been done already, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel the same. Francisco, your thoughts on this Locatelli thing?
I'm losing years of life here, guys. I'm literally losing years of life with every Locatelli tweet. Like, buy the guy for God's sake. I'm like,
Yeah.
Are they waiting that we do a GoFundMe?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much where it is with Locatelli. I mean, just get it done. If you're gonna do it, just pull the trigger. I'm not really sure where we stand here on this thing. Kahir, I know right off the bat you kicked off with the penny pinching, and I'm assuming this is a massive part of it. And real quick here, David's tuning in here. I think we're echoing through on somebody's device here, guys.
Let
me mute. Let's see.
I'm pretty sure it's possibly Kahir's device.
Yeah, it's Kahir.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry about that. Having to make do with the current headphones.
Let's try to go through. Maybe just turn it down a bit on the devices side. See if we can clear that. I'm going to move on then on Locatelli while you try and fix that, Kahir. I want to talk about Pjanic's possible return, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This to me, if we cannot, if we abandon main targets to go back to Pjanic, like I put a tweet out that was misinterpreted by many because I said Pjanic coming back could be fine as a role player, like as an option. But if he's coming back as a main, we have issues. Like this is crazy to me. So like if all of a sudden they're thinking Pjanic coming in is fine if we miss out on, say, Locatelli or something like that, like that's a major issue in my personal opinion. Francisco, thoughts on Pjanic possibly returning?
First of all, I like to say that you were talking before about we don't have leaders. Don't worry, Captain De Siglo is coming back. We have our captain. We have our captain back.
Francisco, you just said you're losing lives already through this.
No, I'm not hating.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Kahir.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Thank you.
Okay, but Locatelli first, and then Pjanic, if that's okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kahir. No, go ahead.
Kahir.
Okay, Locatelli. If we wanted him, like you guys said, he should already be here. Secondly, Pjanic. Why? I mean, like you said, this gets back to the penny pinching. Why? This is partly why I was skeptical about Allegri because Zinedine Zidane, I don't think he would have tolerated this. This is why he
Yeah.
left Real Madrid. I don't think he would be okay with. Pjanic was a good servant, but ever since Ronaldo's first season, he sort of needed moving on, and I think we should be looking for a Pogba. Or worst case scenario, if you don't get Locatelli, you get in someone like Saul Niguez as a swap for Bentancur. Pjanic it's just madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. It's silly. Again, as a role guy, like, if we pick him up super cheap, like to have backup, that's fine, but he can't be a mainstay. Francisco, you were gonna share some thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Kahir and with you all. I think that if we buy Locatelli, let's say we get Locatelli, first of all, for me the crucial signing of the summer, we get Locatelli, and we get the opportunity to get Pjanic on a loan. Then I can be good with that, because I understand what Kahir is saying. He's not a new guy. We're trying to do something new, but as a role player to compete in different tournaments, we need that, because and this season we thought, he's not. We're strong. We have many players, and we were short on many instances. And we're trying to sell guys. At the end of the day, we're trying to sell Ramsey. I understand we have priorities. Our priorities need to be. For me, my priorities were always Locatelli and the ball, but I think Juve is not going for the ball. Maybe they're going for Pogba on a switch with Ronaldo. But I truly think that if he comes after we do the big signings, which Allegri is demanding, Allegri is going to demand a big midfielder. If we, after that, we get him on a loan to help with the team, he's a good locker room guy. He can help on some games. I don't have, but we need to talk about the salary though, because the man is getting paid in Barcelona, so we need to talk about the salary also. I don't think Juve is gonna be like, oh, come on, you're gonna get paid the same amount of money that you're getting paid in Barcelona. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Antonio, you want to weigh in on the Pjanic?
I think Francisco answered my side of things. If he can be brought in on loan, but it doesn't affect the likes of Locatelli, Serge Milinkovic-Savic, these kind of players. I would 100% do it, and I'll be behind it, because what we lacked this season was strength and depth and certain skill traits in midfield. We lack so many ball playing traits in midfield, and I think Pjanic can give you that, but only under those conditions. I wouldn't be bringing him in and obviously neglecting our main targets, because we would only be going back the way, as I say. But if he can be brought in on loan, I think it's a fantastic addition. I really do. I think he could still give a lot. I truly believe that.
Yeah, it's a tough one because of where his game was at when he left us. I think that still leaves, like, he was regressing quite a bit when I saw him. Like, we know what he's capable of, because he was a very strong player for us when he first hit the scene for us, for Juve, and we slightly converted him and took him a bit further back from where he was playing at Roma. But he's capable of breaking defenses with passes and playing good balls through and stuff. But towards the end, we weren't seeing it. And it was frustrating, right? So we had a lot of frustrations in Pjanic, and now we're kind of stuck on that memory. You know what I mean? That's why, like, when I put that message out, I think he could still be good as a role guy in depth. I think everybody said the same thing. Depth guy. Be massive as a depth guy. Francisco's absolutely right. Can't forget about the salary, which will be a big thing with Pjanic returning. I want to talk about two other guys that are names kind of have been popping up. Çalhanoğlu is one, and Kessié is the other. And here we go. So with these two guys, and we're going to just go back around the way we came, and now we'll go with Antonio and these two names being linked.
I'm going to be probably controversial because I know the minute Calhanoglu's name's mentioned, I see a lot of negativity around him. If he came into the club, for example, Calhanoglu's brought in, I don't think he's going to be brought in as a starter most games. I think he's going to be a rotational player. But let's not forget, we lack a player who is deadly at set pieces. Pjanic could obviously give you that option coming in. This year, we've not had that. Dybala's been injured all season. Ronaldo takes all the set pieces and he's rubbish at them. But Calhanoglu came in, he shoots from outside the box. He's got a fantastic delivery. He scores copious amounts of free kicks. These skills win you games. These skills determine what way the game goes. So he's not necessarily been brought in to be the main focus. But if he can be brought in and give you this skill set, which we lack massively, then and it's a great deal because obviously it could be a free transfer. So why I don't understand the negativity around it, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Calhanoglu, it's a weird one. I think part of it for me is that he's so streaky. He's so streaky, and he does possess a bit of a thing where there's really only one place he can really play. Are we going to even play in a setup that allows us to use him? Because we still don't even know that, right? So it's a bit of a weird one with Calhanoglu. But let's go there before we get into Kessié. Francisco, your thoughts on Calhanoglu?
I don't hate Calhanoglu because I think he has quality. And nobody could say he doesn't have quality because he proved it this year in Milan. But I think he should be in the low tier of the targets, honestly, because I believe that players like Locatelli, De Paul, even Pogba, which I've said before that it's not for me a main target, they should be above Calhanoglu on the scale. He's not bad. Of course, he's not. For a good salary, I would not mind having him on the team, but I'm not like super excited for having it. The other name excites me more. I like more Kessié, but we're gonna talk about that.
We'll get to Kessié. Yeah, the Calhanoglu thing I think is just when you're comparing, you're throwing those names and you drop him a few tiers from those guys. For me, the biggest thing that strikes out to me is versatility. Because if I look at a guy like De Paul, and why I'd put him higher is because I'd feel comfortable no matter how we played in the middle with De Paul, because I know he could play all the roles pretty much in there. And with Calhanoglu, I just don't see that. I see like an attacking mid, and that's kind of it, that one role. So if we do end up going in a 4-2-3-1, he could have value, and then that deal would be pretty big. Getting him as one of those cams, right? But then again, if we're going to keep Dybala and I think Kulusevski, those are the two guys that should be alternating in that role. So if we do bring Calhanoglu, who lacks versatility, in my opinion, then it's kind of like becomes redundant, right? From the guys you want to go with. So then it's just one of those things, right? So it's a weird way. But Kahir, your thoughts on Calhanoglu?
Interesting when you said as a cam, because the way I see cam is like a roaming 8 or a number 10. Are we agreeing that Calhanoglu is a 10?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, like when you see him play, and like that's kind of where he is, and behind the forwards and just slightly ahead of the pivots.
I mean, personally, I'd bring him in if it's on a free, just bring him in straight away. Likewise, Donnarumma, but we'll get to that later. Because the way I see it is this. If we're going to use Dybala as the 10, he's a great backup, and he offers a very similar set of skills. And I think he's maybe even better on set pieces. That will then allow us to spend more money on a CDM. And I think we also need a left back as well. I'm being completely honest.
100%.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, that's, again, multiple ways to look at things, right? And, we like to try and cover all angles here. Now, let's get to the beast, according to David for Faro. Kessié. So Frank Kessié being slightly linked. Let's start and go around the clock again. Kahir, your thoughts on Kessié?
Is he? Are we looking at him as an alternative to Locatelli, or are
No.
we?
No. And we're just speaking hypothetically here with the name that was linked, and we're just giving our thoughts on these players.
I think he's very good, but I mean, if we're being penny pinchers as it is, how much would he cost? I know he's got a year left in his contract, but we're not even bringing in Donnarumma on a free. So how much would he cost? Would there be a player exchange involved? Depends on the circumstance, really, because I prefer Chananoglu over him, mainly for the fact he's free and it could free up money elsewhere. Kessie, I think he's very good, but I think with Milan, if they get rid of him, they'll bring in either De Paul or they will promote Tonali, who I think is better than him.
Here's the thing. We're talking about two completely different profiles. So if we were going to say bring in Çalhanoğlu rather than Kessié, I would have to strongly disagree just in terms of we have coverage at that attacking mid role if we were going to go with Dybala and Kulusevski. But Kessié would be a valuable asset almost instantly in my personal opinion in our midfield. Bentancur, I'd have to go with Kessié over Bentancur over what he gave us over the past few seasons. It's a tough one, but even McKennie, I mean, for how McKennie hit the scene at the start and then he kind of fizzled or whatnot, Kessié would probably make it ahead of quite a few in our midfield. But Francisco, your thoughts on Kessié?
For the interest of full disclosure, some of my friends call me the president. So, el presidente needs to come to Juventus. No, but seriously speaking, I don't think it's coming because the asking price is going to be big. And Juventus is already looking at many players. They are looking at him. They are looking at like a bunch of players, Locatelli, De Paul. There's not enough money for all that. But I have to say, he's a hell of a midfielder. The guy, defensively, he was the most important player for Milan this season. Both defensively, and he evolved. He improved a lot offensively. He became a massive player for them. Would I buy him now? Probably not, because we don't have the money and we need other positions first. Locatelli for me is more important. The possible Saul trade is more important.
That's the one.
That's very important. That's a one that is going to be very important for us. But at the end of the day, there are rumors about the Fiorentina striker also, which I don't think is going to happen. But
we'll get to the striker situation.
Yeah. But and like Kahir said, we need a left back. So we should build the team about the weaknesses that we have. And frankly, the KSC position maybe is not covered as good, but it can be covered better. We have players that can cover that position.
Yeah. Antonio, Kessié.
Yeah, just to echo everything you guys have said on Kessié. He's one of my favourites, to be honest with you. I think he's been consistent performer for a few years now. He's turned into that leader. I don't see us bringing him in before anytime soon. I think we should wait. If there's a chance to get him, then obviously go ahead and do it. But it'd be a massive fee to bring him in. But yeah, he's a bulldozer. He's got a bit of everything. You know, he can tackle. Technically, he's very gifted. He can score penalties, and he's a captain. He should be wearing the captain's armband already. He's a fantastic football player.
Yeah, he was solid before he even played with Milan too. He was creating a lot of stir and a lot of buzz. Francisco, you want to finish up on Kessié?
I want to say before. I know was a hard game for us in the 3-0 loss against Milan, but did you guys saw what he did to the leg?
Yeah.
Like my God.
Yeah.
Like when I saw it live, I was like, oh no, he killed him. And the leg is not a guy you usually do that too, because he, like he said on the interview, he always, I may win, I may lose, but you're not going through me, which is the right mentality for a defender.
Yeah.
And he went through him pretty well on that one.
Yeah. There's some tanks in the league. There. Even Zapata and Delict was a hell of a battle there.
Yeah.
I was
That was
just going to
amazing
say
to
that.
hear.
Actually, Yeah.
Sorry. Antonio, you go first.
No,
Okay,
carry on.
here, go
Sorry, I was
ahead.
just adding on.
Okay, yeah. The reason
on.
I was saying not sure about Kessie is because I think I slightly prefer Saul Niguez, and I think he's a great alternative not just to Kessie, but Locatelli. If we're being cheapskates, just swap him for what's his face, Bentancur.
Yeah, and we'll get to that potential deal too. That's coming up shortly here. Donnarumma. This is the one that's frustrating. But again, not a major need, but just a massive, massive opportunity. And it's frustrating that if it is on a free, and apparently they had personal terms agreed with, back in December, apparently being reported, then just get it done. It's another case of this Locatelli thing. One or the other, get it done. But Locatelli is the main need of this club. But Antonio, let's get your thoughts on the whole Donnarumma situation. Is it time to just pull the plug and say, fuck off, basically? Like, if this thing's not getting finished, what do you think?
I think the Donnarumma thing's just it's a media frenzy just now. I think the journalists are having more fun with it than it really needs to be honest with you. I think Juventus are one of the many sides that could possibly bring him in, but I personally like Szczesny. I've got a problem with his communication. I've mentioned this in previous podcasts. If he can work on his communication, then he's got the full package, in my opinion. I don't think it's a position that needs strengthened. I think the money should be spent elsewhere. And it's taken it's energy zapping just following everything that's going on with Donnarumma. So I don't think he's been brought in for the right reasons. I think if he gets brought in, and he's getting brought in just for the sake of, we had a good chance to bring in a good keeper. Personally, I love the guy. I think he's a great keeper, let's say, but I just think the media is pumping it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I mean, I could totally see it. Like I said, it's not a massive need. Szczesny had a uncharacteristically down season, I'd say, this season. I think that's fair to say. Like, he was outplayed by Buffon. Buffon's the GOAT. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I don't care if Buffon's 97 years old. The guy's the GOAT. He could still do it. It's crazy. And his record spoke for himself this season, and just the command, the control. We have that issue with Donnarumma. Does it get immediately corrected with Gigio? I don't think so, but he's just a generational talent, and he's young, and it shores up your the back there for a long time to come. And it's free, even if his salary is about 4 million euros more than Szczesny. It's a massive opportunity. Is it a need? No. Would we be just fine continuing with Szczesny? Absolutely. So that's the thing. This one's not really. I'm not really like completely in it. I would love to see Donnarumma with Juve, because I think part of this club, like with us, is that identity, but reestablishing ourselves and our ties with the Azzurri, I think is big too. Yeah. And you're starting to see more and more reports, and that they want to create that structure again where, they're building an Italian core basically amongst the team. So Francisco, we want to kick off with your thoughts on that tie with the Azzurri and whatnot. And do you see us like kind of trying to build that core? How do you feel about it? Do you think it's non-relevant? Do you think it's strongly relevant to the club?
I always say that the successful teams have a base of players of their country. Because 100%. You cannot just forget about the national players. Like you say, Bayern Munich, they have a core of German players. You saw Real Madrid when they won. You have a core of Spanish players. The same Manchester United. The same with Juventus when they won. Yeah, a little less, but they do have some English players.
Crap
ones, but that's a talk for another day. But they still have. You still see a core of national players because those are the guys that you're seeing constantly.
But England
those are
are
the
shit.
yeah.
Italy
yeah,
aren't.
yeah. Italy, they are good players, and we can do it, but we have to do it in a way that does not compromise the economic operations. And with all due respect to Gigio Donnarumma, who is a great talent, and nobody will dispute he is the more talented goalkeeper in Serie A, frankly. But I think that if we are not able to do the operation in a good way, getting a good offer for Chesney, selling him and bringing him in, then
Yeah.
we don't do it. Why?
That-
So
That's the thing. You're spot on, Francisco. Sorry, Kahir. That is. I just want to piggyback off what Francisco said. It's not a case of just bringing Donnarumma in. It seems too easy to be true. You still need to find a team for Chesney, and Chesney's not willing to leave. So you find yourself in a predicament, possibly upsetting your number one goalkeeper. Not really necessarily have to move him on, just to obviously seize on an opportunity. I still say Chesney's just any bit as good as Donnarumma. I don't think we're getting an upgrade on goalkeeper. We're getting an upgrade on obviously what he can give us in the future, but in kind of 1v1, Chesney's any bit as good as Donnarumma. So
yeah, it reminds me a lot about the situation between Keylor Navas and Courtois, which was not fair for Keylor Navas when he was in Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And I understand that Courtois has more talent and all that, but Keylor Navas was performing. And Tech has some bad games, but he also had a big shadow looming over his shoulder, which is Buffon, because frankly, if he's another goalkeeper, nobody's saying what we're saying.
Yeah.
We need to be real with that. We're all saying play Buffon, because he was performing and communicating better, but because he was Buffon, that's a big factor. So we need to be careful with that.
Yeah.
So let's not rush an operation that may handcuff us.
Exactly.
Another operation that we need more.
Yeah, of course.
May I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you were talking about the ties with the Azzurri. I think to be a Juventus number one, it's just as political as it is about your ability. If I'm getting this correct, only two men have won. Only two foreign keepers have won the number one for Juventus. One is Van der Sar, the other is Szczesny. Am I correct in saying that?
I don't.
Repeat again, Kahir?
Only two foreign keepers have ever won the number one for Juventus. The first is Van der Sar, and the other is Szczesny. Correct? Those are the only two.
I believe you're right as far as wearing number one. Yeah.
And I think that a solution to all of this would be a rather creative one. I think what you do is you go to Roma and say to them, and Jose Mourinho is well thought of by Szczesny. You cannot underestimate his pull. I think you go to them and say, here's Szczesny and here's Alexandro, who Mourinho is a big fan of, wanted him at United, and bring Spinazzola back. Then you bring in Szczesny on a free. There's two problems fixed.
The one key factor in that is, here I agree with you, but Szczesny and Alexandro won't leave Juventus. They've got their feet under the table. We've got a big issue there.
This is the other, and this is the other side of the whole thing too. Is we're okay with Szczesny, and like I said, uncharacteristically bad year. But if that multiplies, and now all of a sudden he has the same issues we had this year, then it's like that. Damn, maybe we should have done that. Alexandro, you guys brought up. That's another guy. We had a massive offer at one time. Massive offer
from United, I think,
and there was a lot of interest in him, massive offer, and he was a little bit regressed in that season. He didn't have and everybody counted it out like just saying it's just a one-off, whatever, he'll be fine, but it's kind of just been boom, boom, boom going down the line with Sandro. And that's why I say Szczesny's not necessarily an issue, but when you have these opportunities, it's an interesting scenario for Juventus management, because you guys are right. You don't want to upset your number one going into next season if you don't have to. But at the same time, like, I don't know. it's not a massive upgrade now, but if Szczesny comes back with another down season, that could be a big opportunity missed.
All
You
I'm
know,
gonna
so
say is
it's an interesting one, right? But we'll we'll have to see what ends up happening. I think honestly, this Donnarumma thing, again, part of me is just saying if it was going to be a done deal, it'd be done by now.
Yeah.
The guy's sitting there available on a free or whatnot, and Raiola can play all the games he wants, but the Euros playing a part again, even with Locatelli should be done for Juventus.
Yeah, I'm
Like that deal
disappointed.
should be done.
Disappointed, yeah.
Don't
this is why, before we move on, I think we as Juventus fans, we need to put a counter narrative out there about this. Oh, we have to raise 100 million before even bringing a free transfer. Allow that. The owners are rich enough. I understand there's that capital increase prior to COVID, right? And if you put in another 100 or 150 million now, you could do it as a loan. That's not even 1% of the Agnelli family's net worth. They can do it.
The 100 million euro is just what they have to do to write the books. It's not going to affect transfers in this Mercado, because that's just going to go towards the next base. The 100 million euros is what they need to do to write the books for the current season's numbers. But they also chewed up a 300 million euro bond already due to COVID that everybody seems to be forgetting.
I remember that.
The funds are there, but you can't just be pumping in and injecting them like that. That COVID thing has hit all these clubs very, very hard.
That's
all
true,
these clubs.
But the thing is, Manchester City, you know that the Agnellis are as wealthy as Man City's owners. And all I'm going to say is that I know there's that 300 million issue, but COVID you could not have foreseen. And as a result, we could probably do the rebuild on 100 million net max this summer because of COVID, the opportunity it presents us. Because players won't be this cheap, we won't be able to do so many swaps, etc., for such a long time. And I think
you can't think like that either, though, because you can't bring Man City into anything to do with Juve, because number one, they have been in FIFA the fair play problem, and it's just been swept under the rug. And you know damn well what would happen during now with Juventus and Seferin if we got into that mess. So
but it's been relaxed this summer. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, we won't compare ourselves to Man City there or play that game with Seferin. Hey, who holds a grudge worse, Rocco Gomiso or Alexander Seferin? There's a question.
I seen your tweet. I think just off the back of what both Al and Kahir were saying, the Max Allegri reappointment there's been a lot of talk around it that he's going to have an Alex Ferguson role in the club, which I'm all for. I think that should have been the case way back when. I think a manager should have that role, because at the end of the day, he knows what players he needs to build a successful side. So we need to just sit back for a moment. I think this moment of reflection, this hesitance a lot, kind of the likes of Donnarumma and Locatelli, Allegri might be discussing, and he will be discussing with his staff, exactly the player that he wants. So Donnarumma might not necessarily fit what Allegri's trying to do, and likewise with Locatelli, we don't know. We just need to trust the club's got it right this time. I think they have, and let's see if Allegri gets that power with the Saints.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just how far the power is and how much influence it's there that we'll see over time. I want to get to Demiral. Demiral apparently up for sale, and Milenkovic from Fiorentina is seen as a replacement. Kahir, your thoughts on this potential move?
I think it'll be I think it's an upgrade. But what I'd also do with the Demiral, for Demiral, I'd push Everton and say, "Yo, give us Luca Digne in exchange. Great left back, possibly France's starter, and Milenkovic. I think that'll be a great long-term partner for De Ligt. But I prefer Romagnoli personally, and you swap him for Bernardeschi.
Yeah, so the Demiral Milenkovic one would be a good one for the books. But I want to talk about these guys and players. So Kahir's saying it's an upgrade. Antonio, is it an upgrade? Milenkovic over Demiral?
On a football sense, I don't know if it would be an upgrade, because I think Demiral, when he's on one, he's a monster. But it could be a great deal to balance the books up as well, because you're getting 30 million, 40 million, and then you're going to have, I think Milinkovic would only cost around 10 million. So
Yeah.
it balances the books up and it looks good on paper. But in relation to an upgrade, I think they're more or less the same player, but I would more swing to Demiral. I think he's a better player.
Francisco's looks like he's got a migraine here. I know he's a big fan of Demiral, but how you feeling, man? So this potential deal, good on the books, is an upgrade in terms of players.
I've just lost 10 years of life with this. Well, I always say the same thing. Juventus center back core was the strongest part of our team, without a doubt. We're good. You want to sell Demiral? Fine, go on, sell Demiral. Don't, please, Kahir, don't talk about Romagnoli, because I love no.
Wait a minute.
No. I understand the national team thing, but come on now. You look at the Milan games. Tomori came in and just took Romagnoli's place like it was a candy, taking a candy from a little kid. That's not like.
But he's from the European champions.
Yeah.
That's what we aspire to be, right?
No. What I'm trying to say is, Tuchel was pissed that Tomori was given away. Tomori is to Chelsea what Romero is to us.
Yeah, but I don't like.
Nonetheless, he went and what Francisco's trying to say is, nonetheless, he went there and it was like nothing, essentially removing Romagnoli from the lineup, right?
Yeah, it's like FIFA. It was like literally like FIFA. I felt like it was FIFA. Tomori came in, you took Romagnoli out of the lineup, you put Tomori in. That's it. No battle at all. So, okay, we're gonna sell him, right? But bring at least a young guy who can bring us.
So you're just not a fan of Milinkovic?
I'm not convinced by him.
Silly question. Is Milinkovic left-footed? And I'll tell you the reason why. But is he left-footed?
No.
No.
So he's right-footed. Just to back up what Kahir said about Romagnoli, I don't think necessarily Romagnoli's Juventus quality, but I do think a left-footed centre-back is more modernised with a right-footed and a left-footed going forward. I think they're much better having a balance. As I say, that's just a personal thing. I see Manchester City, Guardiola focuses a lot on that, having a right-footed centre-back and a left-footed centre-back. So it's just interesting to see if Milinkovic was one of them.
Yeah. So Milinkovic right-footed, Romagnoli left-footed. And you could bring up that in towards a modern game, whatnot. I don't know. I don't hold so much on left-footed, right-footed at certain positions and center back. Even like when we're talking about at fullbacks, I see it. But like you're talking mid, center backs and stuff like that, it's not a critical deal breaker for me. And again, I just think like this team has had a history of not replacing guys with equal or greater quality. And I think we need to really pump the brakes and look at moves a little bit more in depth. And this is another situation to me that has just gone down the line over the years here, which is just focusing on the books and making the books call the shots and stuff. This is a good one for the books, but there's other ways we need to do, and there's other moves that we need to push for first. And Demiral, for me, like public enemies, number one, are those frees. It needs to start there. But Rabiot set the tone for himself to actually have a discussion about keeping. And he was our best midfielder, which doesn't say a lot about the other guys because Rabiot was awfully inconsistent throughout the season. But he did the same thing that he did before, which was finish strong. And then you're left Like, okay, next year he's just going to be a monster, and then here he goes like this, up and down, up and down. Maybe Allegri can level him out where you see a strong Rabiot, and I truly think that could be the case. I think Allegri will be strong for Rabiot, but I think you have to start there, and it's just this Demiral thing for Milenkovic is like, I'm not sold on Milenkovic, and I think, again, this is just one for the books, and Demiral, I think, just needs some polishing, and I think we're just holding him up to De Ligt, which we shouldn't. I think everybody needs to realize that in De Ligt, you have an actual generational player. Demiral doesn't need to be that, but he just needs to polish up a bit. We said the same about Chiellini and how he played and everything. And, oh, man, this guy's reckless. He's whatever. Polishing. Just got to polish things up.
Wasn't Demiral...
I think we're rushing things, but...
Wasn't he Allegri's last signing the first time round?
Demiral?
I'm not 100% sure.
I swear
he came out with salary.
Yeah, but he was signed by Allegri, if that makes
sense. Yeah, he was signed through... Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was signed midway through a season, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like how Wilfred Zaha was Ferguson's last signing, if you know what I mean.
Because Demiral was in the final Allegri season.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna happen the same thing that happened with Spinazzola, the same thing that happened with Keane. We're gonna sell the guy. The guy is gonna perform on another team, and they're gonna see Juve Twitter screaming, "Oh, why do we sell him? Oh!" But right now everybody's talking, "Oh, it's gonna be a great operation. We're gonna have 40 million. We're gonna buy back a 10 million center back. Oh, it's gonna be great. He's gonna be shooting up heads in another league or in another team, and then we're gonna start crying and screaming, "Oh, why is he not playing with Juve? Because we wanted to sell him. That's why."
Yeah, and here's another thing. So you got Eric coming in here. Demiral less likely to get much playing because of Chiellini now. Are we banking on Chiellini staying fit for an entire season?
Come on now. No.
So we have to think about this now, right? Yeah. And I get it. You can consider a move for all players, but the deal's gotta be big. And I know we have other areas of need, but you don't need to break the bank to bring in Locatelli. And it could be done like 40 mil. There's your spending, which we can easily do. And then from there, you can work swap deals. We can strengthen this team. Again, you have to generate 100 mil, but there's a big thing here, and that's Cristiano Ronaldo's future. And we've got to look at that, and we've got to figure out what's coming from that as well. Ramsey absolutely has to be moved. Take whatever you can get, $5, $10, a bag of new match balls, whatever.
He's going to be the new Sami Khedira. He's going nowhere. Trust me. He's staying where he is because he just loves the money and he's happy playing there. He's not interested. You can tell he's not interested. He's happy where he is. Trust me. We've got a new problem there.
Eric's touche to Eric because he said, "Are we banking on Demiral staying fit?" Hey, fair enough. Demiral's had his injury worries as well, but
he's 21, like 21, 22. I'll beg for a younger guy to get fit. Like there's not like no player in Juventus was getting injured.
Yeah, that's true too. Everybody got hurt this.
Everybody in this year, which so many games also.
Everybody. The other thing is too, we have to be realistic about. Like, I love the guy, but Chiellini made some very, very bad errors towards the end, like costly.
Yeah, he had some.
So it's like it's a tough one. This is not an easy decision by any means, but something to consider for sure. Now we're going to talk about Saul, a possibility from Atletico. Bentancur, is it all right to move Bentancur? Are you guys ready to move on from Bentancur, and would you pull the trigger on that move, hypothetically?
Yeah, I think his time's came. I think it's either it's one of Rabiot and Bentancur for me, and I would keep Rabiot because for the last 2 seasons, at the end of each campaign, he's been our best performer of one of the best. Bentancur for the last 2 years, he plays it too safe for me. He never goes out his comfort zone, and if we can bring a player in like Saul, who technically is an upgrade, I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, Francisco.
Well, it depends on what are we getting back. For Saul, yeah, I will do it. And I'm a fan of Betancourt because I always say the same thing. I respect him a lot because he doesn't cruise through the game. You never see him cruising to the game. Maybe he's having a stinker of a game, but he's putting up the effort. What kills me is seeing him play with Uruguay, and he always plays good with Uruguay. I'm like, damn it. Why can't you play like that with us?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with Allegri he gets better. I don't know, but
Bernardeschi with the Azzurri.
Yeah,
better player.
System is
but please let's not.
It's true though. It's true though.
But he has playing in Juventus in the same position. That's what kills me, because in the case of Betancourt, you see a different role. In the way that he's playing, but in the case of Bernardeschi, he has been played in the positions that he has been asking to play. Then what more can we do? We can't do anything more, and he's like 27 now. So if we can sell him, sell him. But Betancourt is what, 23?
Yeah.
He's young. He's a young guy who's still talented, who has some great games, because I've seen Betancourt, and when he's good, he's really good.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I think you said, Francisco, and Demiral, if he moves away, we'll be kicking ourselves. I think if Betancourt goes to a team like Atletico Madrid, he'll only improve, because Atletico Madrid, for me, is a perfect fit for him, because Simeone's style of football suits Betancourt. They're very similar. Even the way Simeone played the game, they're very similar in play. I think they're a great fit for each other. I think Atletico suits Betancourt, and Benta suits the style of Atletico. But I agree with Francisco. I mean, I've been a massive fan of Betancourt. I think last season Pirlo didn't do many favours, but again, Betancourt let himself down big time, mostly with his obviously his discipline. Sometimes he dives into challenges when he doesn't need to. He gets himself booked needlessly, and he gets himself sent off. But
that's it.
That needs to improve, and I don't think it's ever going to improve, because he's been like that for quite some time now. He's not shown that level of maturity for me to go forward. Yeah,
it's death, taxes, and Betancourt getting a yellow card.
Yeah,
that's always like that's the thing for me. That's it. That's the thing. And he sometimes the dumb mistakes, and I've seen some stinkers from Betancourt. But to be fair to him, I've seen stinkers from a lot of players this year. Like
absolutely,
a lot of players, like the ones that you think, oh, this player is not gonna give me that.
Yeah.
Like every midfielder in Juventus this year had a stinker. The only one who didn't was Fagioli, because he didn't play. The other guys, it was crazy. It was crazy.
All right. So Bentancur, I mean, you see the reactions. A lot of remove Bentancur. Bentancur cost us versus Lyon, Porto. He's terrible. And then you've got the flip. Bentancur is criminally underrated. No midfielder wins so many balls in defense, but he just clearly isn't a playmaker. Just has to focus on playing defensively, in his opinion. The other thing, too, is that this system we played this past season, it just stretched our midfield pivots apart so bad, and it was tough to watch.
Yeah,
you could watch these guys ripped and pulled apart through positions and just diced up like so easily. That whole hybrid thing where we took one midfielder and moved him forward, it just left the other two so vulnerable, and it was really, really clunky. And I don't think it did a service to any of the guys that were in the middle of the park. Bentancur's a good midfielder.
Yes,
we're looking for that breakthrough. We started to see a bit of it with Sarri. What changed? everything. The system, it was tough. I don't think he's terrible, but in this position, like if Saul was a possibility, I would probably take it on Bentancur. Antonio, you're gonna fire through here.
Yeah, just piggybacking what you said there with Sarri, with Bentancur. We thought that he finally was going to become this player we all hoped he will, but Pjanic helped Bentancur, because when Pjanic was playing, Bentancur knew his job. His job was a box-to-box midfielder, a mezzala on a three-man midfield, and you'll get a different player. With Pirlo, I'll use the Porto example just of one of the comments one of the guests said. In the Porto first leg, he received the ball in his own box, and he's expected to chase the play down when the opposition team is looking to play out. That's him covering the full length of a pitch. So you're asking a guy to be a box-to-box midfielder and be a playmaker. Now, I know that zaps a lot of your energy. So when you're receiving the ball in those areas, you're going to make a mistake, because you're zapped. You're covering so much ground. But with a player like Pjanic in the team and a proper system, you've seen a better player.
Yeah, that's a good show too. We still have quite a bit we want to talk to. We're going to rifle through some of these. Ronaldo's future, is it decided? Have we seen the last of him with Juve?
Yeah, he's in. I saw him on the beach in Puerto Rico, and he told me he's leaving Juventus. So. He's not going back.
There you go. So, are you guys? I see a lot of this. Just they're afraid. There's so many Juventini that are saying we're going to lose Ronaldo and we're just done. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried the fact we're a Capo Cannoniere. We never had a Capo Cannoniere through the streak. Exactly. We didn't have one.
Yeah, exactly.
So he wasn't Capo Cannoniere for Juve. Like we never through
I think he was for 1 year.
No.
He wasn't?
Higuain, no.
No. We did not have a Capo Cannoniere throughout the entire streak.
Okay, Ciro Immobile, we won it every year.
So there's the thing. So am I concerned about it? No. I'm not. It is what it is. But I agree with you guys. I think that's it. I think he's done with Juve.
Where's he going?
Dybala looks like he's staying in.
Yes.
Are we all on board?
Yeah, I talked to him on the beach in Puerto Rico, and he told me he was staying.
That's a busy beach.
Puerto Rico.
I told you guys should come, but I understand. Yeah, COVID is killing us.
Milik, Malin, Vlahovic.
Oh, Vlahovic.
And Moise Kean. So, first of all, Milik on a free. Yes or no?
No.
Leave him on a beach in Puerto Rico.
No. He's not welcome in Puerto Rico.
On the beach in Puerto Rico.
He's not welcome in Puerto Rico.
Malin, this kid from Eindhoven.
No.
We need a solid striker right now.
All right, fuck me, right? Okay. Vlahovic, 50 million euros.
No, we can't buy him, but he's gonna be the guy we're gonna buy in the future. Trust me.
Yeah.
We're not going after Haaland or Mbappe. We're going after that guy. He's a monster.
So Vlahovic is gonna replace the Haaland thing for Juve.
I think because he's a more affordable option. He's a good striker and he's young. And we're not trying to compete. We cannot compete economically with all other teams. So they're gonna kill themselves for those two players. We're gonna say, okay, give me Vlahovic. He's good.
Now, in base of all my all the things I've seen, a lot of people are putting Moise Kean above all of those names. Would you put Moise Kean above all?
No.
Just Vlahovic above Kean?
I know it's not I just don't know. I think Keane's a good player, but I don't think he's people gas him up big time, and I don't see this.
He's good. He's good, but
he's a good player. But is he a proper starting number 9 every game? For me, no.
I don't know, because I've seen him, and when that guy starts running. Since I saw him when he was there the season with Allegri, and every time I saw guys just bumping into him and just going to the floor, and I'm like, oh my god! But I think he's not coming back because I think he's going to stay in PSG. I truly believe he's taking PSG. And
Yeah.
if PSG gets a hold of someone, he's not getting out of there.
Now that's interesting because going back to the Ronaldo thing, I think there's only two ways. I think there's only two teams Ronaldo can go to. One is PSG and one is Real Madrid, and a lot will depend on what Real Madrid do. Because if they go for Mbappe, then obviously that frees up space for Ronaldo. But I think Icardi's name is one to be. I think we should keep an eye on that. I think that could.
Oh no! Don't go there.
But why?
20 years less of my life.
The thing with Icardi, and this is the thing with Moise Kean, like you think like we're gassing Kane up, but it's like for me, I see a guy that could play right across the top in Moise Kean, like either on the side or even as a 9. Like I could see him playing right across there, and we watched him with PSG, like an attacking team, and man, he looked good in Champions League. Like he's good. He reminds me of Chiesa and how he plays because it's direct. He's got no fear taking guys on. Icardi, I saw him with the same attacking team, and he just is so service dependent. He's not as versatile, right? Yeah. So like I just see that one style, and I think we need the versatility to help us because of one of the issues we talked about earlier in the pod, our depth. Our depth is going to be, it's not going to be repaired in one mercado. So I'm not saying do everything you can to get Keane, but I like these types of players that can slot in and have that versatility, because if we start looking at names that are really pigeonholed to one spot, I think that's going to get us in trouble when it comes down to depth, right?
But I'll say this. We saw Keane on a PSG team, which was very attacking-minded team, and he played good.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm going back to I'm gonna butcher his name. The striker from Fiorentina, Vlahovic. He's playing in Fiorentina. Yeah, we say that Fiorentina became the 70s Brazil when they play against Juventus, but they were stinking, like they were playing bad. And that guy scored all those goals, and he was fighting. And his off-ball fighting was something to watch, because as a striker, he worked his ass off. Every time the Fiorentina got the ball, he was trying to get space. He was doing something. He was working. He's defending. That kid is going to be a monster. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. The reason I didn't throw Icardi's name in there just for, obviously, for the sake of it. I'll keep going back to Allegri's new role in Juventus. So if he has got this Alex Ferguson role, then Icardi's one of the players that he's always liked. Sarri loved Icardi as well. Every single year, Icardi's name's he's always linked to Juve, one way or another. So if he's brought in, it's because Max Allegri wants to bring him in. He's not been brought in by the club. So that's the reason I've mentioned Icardi's name. Am I against it? Probably yes, because he comes with a hell of a lot of baggage, as I say. But he does know the league, and he scores goals with a proper system. As I say, that's the reason I mentioned his name. I think he can give you that kind of play that Allegri likes. Moses Kean, yes, he does all the things perfectly, and he's a very good footballer, but is he going to score 15, 20 goals a season? Because Ronaldo's going to go, say, for example, he leaves. You're looking to your number 9 to get your most goals. I don't think Moses Kean's got 20 goals in him.
With the Allegri thing, we need to be careful, because he also liked Rugani. And
maybe his wife. It was maybe his wife.
I think he was the one who brought in the Sigler also, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Allegri, you're killing me, Allegri. We're trying to defend you here. You're killing us. But
no. It's yeah. I mean, all these names you can go through, and that's why for me, like it's hard, right? Because people talk about form and they talk about all these players and stats and stuff like that. Well, before we signed Chiesa, nobody would have thought he had the impact he did, because he was struggling with Fiorentina. But I said, look at the club he's on. Look at the player traits and the qualities and what they could bring to our team, more than focusing on their numbers and stuff like that. And that's why in my mind, I'm starting to lean towards versatility with this team. Morata staying on loan, that's like a no-brainer for Juve at 10 million euro to just renew him. So
Yeah.
I would like a guy that, let's get some versatility in there and let's go that route. I think even why Malin might be a name where it's like, it would be that I get it. It's not the big thing everybody's looking at or whatnot, but it would be fine, and I'd be more than fine with it.
Okay.
But let's get to some young guys.
Yes.
Rovella, Pellegrini, their futures. Pellegrini probably staying again out, but Rovella, should we bring Rovella in for minutes next season, keep him with us, or keep the loan going with Genoa? What do you guys think?
Keep it.
Bring him in.
No. For me, no. Because
I would bring him in.
he's not going to play. He's not going to play. If I was the coach, bring him in. But he's not going to play. He's not going to play. I'm telling you right now.
And this is where I've got a massive problem with the Italian mentality. How long do they need to wait before they put a player on show? I mean,
until they get back from Puerto Rico, man.
I saw him walking in Puerto Rico, and Roberto told me, "Man, I want to play for Juventus, but they don't let me."
The thing with Rovella is like and I think this is a tough thing. It's like when you watch some of these young guys play, it's like you can see like, yeah, this guy needs some time, or this guy could really benefit from a loan. Like I watch Rovella at Genoa, and it's like
he's ready.
He's more than capable to come in and take minutes for us in some matches next season, like even subbing in on 60-minute games and potentially starting a couple against certain sides. I would have no problem with that when you watch him play. And this is what my concern is with this team. And honestly, Max Allegri was a concern I had before, is especially like we've been hearing for the past 2 seasons, it's like a rejuvenation. We want to get young again. We want to do this. Is Allegri going to be able to follow that through? Because his history says otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but he also likes to get young. In Juventus, he tried to get young in Juventus. The problem is that the management wasn't on the same page with him. And also the young guys that he bring on were stinkers, because we spoke about Rugani and De Siglo. We're not speaking about that. But in the case of Rovella, I like I said, would I bring him in? Oh, of course, yeah. You see him. We play with Italy's young team, he's, if not the best, one of the best players on the pitch. And frankly, for what Juventus has right now, to bring him in. But if I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think if they bring in him, he's not going to play. He's not going to play, and I don't want him to be here sitting on the bench and just not playing, because that won't work for us.
Yeah, and that's the one thing, right? If he's going to come in and sit, then he's better off staying out on a loan. But in terms, we're all in agreement though that he should be getting minutes with us.
No, of course.
So I see some names being brought up, but Marzeda here, and we should try to give Fagioli, Correa, Ranocchia, and Ake some playing time. I think it's going to be too tough to get all of them. Fagioli might potentially go out on a loan. How do you guys feel about that one? Should Fagioli stay amongst the club after what we saw this season and whatnot, or should he go out on loan?
I think he should go out on loan and learn his trade again. Well, obviously, likes the Ravella's played a full season with Genoa.
Yeah.
So I think Fagioli should do the same. To be honest,
I agree. Yeah. Francisco?
Yeah, he has to. He has to go on loan. It's a shame, because I do believe he could have played more, and we could have seen more of him to know at what stage he is and all that. But he should leave on loan. I wouldn't sell him, but to be on loan, yeah, I would loan him.
This is a big season for Juventus. I think Max Allegri will be going out to win the league back. I think we will win the league back. I don't think there's enough opposition out there to challenge for us. I strongly believe we'll win the league back, even if Conte stayed. So I don't think the time for experiments is next season. I think we need an established team with established names to get back to obviously to winning ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have confidence we'll get back to winning ways. I was not even, like I said throughout this season, even towards the end, we're not as far off as a lot of you and Teeny make it out to seem like we've fallen completely, miles away from our competitors. We're not. We're still in there. This was an off year and a lot of struggles, a lot of injuries. It didn't work out, and a lot of bad misfortune. And a lot of mistakes and goals that we gave up ourselves. We literally lost this Scudetto more than Merda went out.
Of course,
to be honest, they basically all those tight ones. They were finding ways to win, and we weren't. Basically, and that was the difference. When you look at all these matches and you pull, 2 points out of 4 matches against bottom sides, so you're asking for trouble. And we did that, but we'll see. It's up to Allegri now to get us back on track. We have a lot of faith in him based on obviously what he did for us previously, and now we'll see how much more power he has. But there is a shakeup. We were expecting shakeups from the board as well, and I think it was time that they were held accountable, to be honest, and that we started to look at change there. And Francisco brought it up too today, that there's just a lack of cohesion. There's been a lack of cohesion from the ranks, going from the board, going to manager. And you saw it ever since the Allegri initial decision to get rid of him. You saw that they weren't on the same page, the guys up top, and then even you saw it after Sarri got let go, because then, if Paratici was saying, just keep him because we don't have time, and the others were like, no, we got to move. We got to get rid of him. And then a lot of contradicting transfers, and we just need to get back on track. So Paratici had his farewell ceremony, this week. And final thoughts on Paratici. I think overall, we can't discount or discredit the work that he did during the streak and whatnot. He was great. Did he have flaws? Absolutely. Nobody's perfect. And I think, honestly, for him, he should have never undermined Marotta with that CR7 deal. And that was where the cohesion and everything kind of really took a shake up there. He was a great number 2.
Yeah.
As a 1, he struggled in the team building aspect, Paratici, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Still a good director, but not to the echelon of where he's been put up, in my personal opinion. I thank him nonetheless, but your guys' final thoughts on Paratici and where he stood and whatnot.
I have sometimes problems with not giving him a first shake, because at the end of the day, he did have some problems dealing with players that he didn't sign also.
I agree.
Because it's not fair to him in the sense that Marotta, everybody always talk about Marotta, yes, and he did some good things for Juve, and thank you to him. But at the end, he got some stinkers for us. And then at the end of the day, that didn't help Paratici.
Yeah. I agree with he had some deals that were, before he took over. He was still part of the team there and whatnot, and part of the magic, but they were Marotta and they were Allegri guys too. Some of those extensions too, which is part of the concerns there. But Antonio, your final thoughts on Paratici. Did he get a fair shake, or did he get a rough go for some stuff that he shouldn't have?
Yeah, I think much like Pirlo, I think he was put in a position which was above him, to be honest with you. I think, as you said, Al, he's a great number 2, but not necessarily a money man. He's got great football knowledge. Paratici knows a good player, especially young players, as I say. But he did have his faults. Obviously, he's going to have his faults as well. But I think overall, it was time for him to move on.
Yeah, he's a fantastic scout. I'll give him that. As far as scouting
Yeah,
talent, fantastic. But the team building is just something that, we just kept leaving gaps. And it sounds like now that's the biggest thing is they just want to shut down those gaps. And Allegri wants a full squad with coverage at all positions. Holy shit. Exactly what everybody's been saying has been our problem for I don't know how many years, right? So let's see what ends up happening. Barzagli, rumored to be joining the staff with Allegri. Allegri wants Barzagli in. He was part of the staff for a bit after he had retired, and it was kind of flew under the radar how we had that shift in our defense, and like there was a noticeable change there. And then for personal reasons, he said, family-related issues and spending time with them, he left. But I'm pretty excited about Barzagli being part of the staff. I would love that. What do you guys think about having a guy like that as part of the staff?
I think it's good because the thing with Barzagli, and he said it once, I was a good defender, but not because I have the conditions to be a good defender. Because he mentions the name, I didn't have the talent that Van Dijk had. I didn't have the strength of this defender or the speed or this defender. I had to be good because I was smart. That was my technique for being a good defender. And those are the defenders. Those are the players that do help are better, I think, are very suited to be coaches because you can't teach tactics. You cannot teach speed. If you were the fastest defender, you were always there because you were the fastest. You cannot tell to a slower defender go faster. No, you can't. But the thing that Barzagli did, anticipation, the way to look the game, the tactics, that's something that you could work with. And that's why I like those kind of players. That's why I do agree that Barzagli can be a good defender. And you see it when he was like when Juventus had those big three defenders, he was I don't want to say he was the best defender because the three of them were good, but he was the glue that united them. Because you had Chiellini, who was the alpha guy, who was taking on the big challenges, the big one-on-ones. You had Bonucci, who was more of the finesse guy, who was not maybe the best defender, but he helped move the ball, who was scouting. And Barzagli was the one who supported them both. And who gave the balance to that back three.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes, I know it's gonna sound bad, but when you look at Merda, you have Skriniar, who's the big guy, and you have Bastoni, who's more of the finesse guy, and you have the De Vrij, who's the glue that gets them together. Yeah. That's the same thing with Barzagli. In the way he was defending, I do think he's great for Juventus.
Yeah. Antonio?
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Francisco said, Conte moulded his back three based on the BBC of Juventus, and you can see a lot of similarities in them. But I think with Barzagli coming in, hopefully he addresses the defensive issues because you can put it down to Pirlo's tactics, you can put it down to whatever you want, but defensively we look so lackadaisical this year. We conceded so many. I mean, some sides that we shoot on goal. I mean, we conceded way too much to the opposition. So hopefully Barzagli can address that and obviously make these players like De Ligt grow even more. Demiral, Vlahovic, Milinkovic, all these players, young guys with massive potential. So someone like Barzagli behind the scenes can really help these players grow. I think going back to the Alexandro the topic we were discussing earlier on, I still think Alexandro could be used as a centre half, but somebody needs to take the time to work with him. It's been mentioned this year. Pirlo had mentioned it. A lot of us in our private chat, we discussed it as well. I think with the proper kind of training, the proper the proper man behind the scenes. He could have a future as a centre back. He's got everything there to be a good solid centre back.
Yeah, I think the fullback position's getting away from him now.
Yeah,
but I
He's
could
still
see
got
him
legs.
being a center back right now. Not a top option one, but if Barzagli worked with him, potentially, sure. So Barzagli, that was a move. He came in for what, 800,000, like something very minuscule.
Yeah.
Never thought we would be getting what we got out of Barzagli. Absolutely unbelievable. This guy.
Yeah.
He's the one kit in my collection that I regret. I haven't got a Barzagli kit. So if anybody's watching or listening and you got a Barzagli kit, I want it. So I'll buy it. I'm starting to search for a Barzagli kit because I want one. Guys, let's share just real quick favorite Barzagli moment. Do you guys have it? For me, it's got to be that play against Roma when he just went our end to theirs, set up Giovinco, and Giovinco finished that goal. It was just amazing. The guy took the lead, took the ball from our end, popped it over one player, and just went. He had nothing on his mind but attacking. I couldn't believe it from Barzagli. But any moments you guys want to share with Barzagli?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Francis. Just when you're thinking, I can't remember what season it was, but it was a penalty, and he hadn't scored all season.
Yeah,
and we won a penalty, and everyone was looking about, and you could actually see him like not want to hit it, and Bonucci was actually encouraging him, like, go on, hit it. And it was just a lovely moment to see him actually score a goal. But
I remember that PK too. That was a good one too, for sure.
Yeah, that was my favorite moment.
For me, it was not it was on the pitch, but it was not a play. It was more about the interactions between the BBC and Buffon.
Yeah,
when they stopped, because you saw on those moments, Bonucci was the young guy, so he was like, he was not very feisty. Chiellini was like always roaring like a monster, and you saw Buffon like he went like good for Bonucci, and for Chiellini he had a chest bump and all that, and when he saw Barzagli, he was like, good job. Like Barzagli was not as intense as Chiellini. He was good, but he was not as intense as Chiellini.
Yeah.
But he was like the father of the big and of the other two defenders. He was like, good job, son. Chiellini, don't break nobody's leg or something. Behave. Now we're good. Like it was like that. So that's why he was.
And Juan coming in here with the same one as Antonio, that PK. So he says favorite moment when the whole team had scored by the last day of the league, except Maroni and Andrea. And Maroni had scored first, and the whole stadium started chanting his name when that penalty was given. Fantastic times. Another signing that honestly, I didn't expect to be as intense as it was. Carlos Tevez has retired from football. He was an absolute beast for Juventus. He was a fantastic player. I did have concerns when he was signed, and then he was given the number 10, and that created a bit of a stir too. But man, did he ever do the 10 proud and all of us proud. He was an absolute monster. I wanted him to stay longer. I remember being upset that we were, letting him go and whatnot. That was the deal that brought Bentancur in. He was part of that Tevez going back to Boca there. But Tevez, favorite moments from Tevez, a lot of favorite moments. That goal against Parma when he took it inside our half and just went off all on his own. The rocket against Dortmund. Oh my God. Take your pick. The guy was an absolute killer. But let's share some favorite Tevez moments in honor of his retirement. Francisco, favorite Tevez moment.
On a pitch, I'll say that that goal was something spectacular. Is for me one of the best Juventus goals I've ever seen. But for me, and I have to say that for piggybacking of what you say, the hesitation of some Juventini fans when he came in, I truly believe that Buffon was very important for him in that sense, because I saw an interview that when he came in, the first practice, Buffon came and grabbed him by the neck and he told him, "Come on, we have to win everything this year," and gave him a kiss. And he says, like, for a guy that big, that of that magnitude, to do that to me, who I'm just coming in here, it was massive.
Yeah.
And I also always think, other than Boca, because Boca is another thing for him, but in Europe, for me, the team that he loved the most, I believe, is Juventus, because he left, but he left on good terms, I believe, with Boca. He was
Yeah.
going back to Boca. When he was in Juventus, I didn't hear problems
Yeah.
between him and the players. And he was a fighter. And I didn't want him on the team first because he was my brother's favorite player. He has always been my, and I was always mugging him. Oh, Tevez is not that good. And when he came in, I was like, damn, I have to cheer for Tevez now. But but man, to Carlitos proved me wrong and made me eat my words. He was
Yeah.
one of the best, for me, one of the best strikers in the that we have of this
Yeah.
spell. The best number 9 that we have, for me.
Yeah. Antonio Tevez.
One of my favourite players. He was fantastic. Just off the back of what Francisco's saying about the training, I can remember Carlos Tevez and Paratici saying that the way Juventus trained, they'd never seen the likes of it. I think Tevez and Evra struggled big time the first couple of sessions. I don't think they could walk the day after, as I say. But my favourite moment for me, the Champions League campaign, obviously the year we got to the final, I believe, with his rocket against Borussia Dortmund. But overall, his performance against Real Madrid at home, where he scored the penalty and won the penalty. That game was just up there with the best for me. One of the best games I've seen Juventus play in a long, long time, as I say. But there was so many moments for Tevez, even this free kick against Roma in the Olimpico. That was an absolute cracker as well, as I say. But the Parma goal was just reminiscent of George Weah when he scored against Verona. You just thought he was going to come to a halt, and he kept going, and you thought at the last second he was going to miss, and you were praying he was going to hit the back of the net, because I can remember watching that game live going, what the hell did I just see there? Phenomenal player.
Yeah. Man, Peter Balstreri, Tevez was the last bastard we've had. Would anyone consider Diego Costa off contract, looking for a gig to go get some of that bastardry back into the squad, especially up top? Guys, what do you think about that?
No,
yes, Peter. Yes, Peter. Yes.
No.
I love the. I love. Oh, come on! He's brilliant. He's great.
You know what I have been saying though? We need some assholes on this team.
That's why I don't want
them
selling Demiral. That's why I don't want Juventus to sell Demiral, because he can be that asshole on the defense. The league is not an asshole. He looks nice. He looks like a kid from kindergarten. You watch him walking here. I watched him right here in Puerto Rico. And he was so polite. Like, man, come on. And I remember then I saw Demiral walking in Puerto Rico. And I was like Demiral, and he was like, "Fuck off. Leave me alone." And that's the guy we need.
But that's good. That's good. We need some assholes. And Demiral, he could be a prick. I like it, but we need a prick up top. We need somebody just to be in those defenders' face and really piss them off.
Like Mario.
No, that was awesome, man. Tevez and Barzagli, reminiscent about those guys. Fantastic. And last but certainly not least, for everybody joining us and tuning in, we are going to be doing coverage of the Euros. We're going to be following the Azzurri, and Antonio's got his flag there. I've got some of the latest from Striped Hearts Apparel. We got the De Rossi one here. We got all sorts of gear ready to follow the Azzurri. Quick preview. Everybody's getting ramped up. Mancini's men just rocked Czech Republic 4-0, getting ready. How do we feel about the Azzurri going into the Euros? Francisco just saw them not too long ago as the team was in Puerto Rico preparing for the Euros.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe
Yeah.
you can give us a little insight on how the team looks going into this one.
Well, all I have to say, I saw them drinking a little beer, so I was like, "Get your ass off here!" No,
Was that not the Scotland team you seen drinking beer? That's probably not, you wouldn't see them at the beach in Puerto Rico,
maybe.
it would melt.
I've seen them both. Maybe I've seen them both. No, but in the sense of Italy, I think that it's France tournament. But if France doesn't win, Italy can beat any other team in the Euros.
Yeah.
I believe that you have French at the top, which is frankly is not fair. The team that they have, then you have maybe Belgium, but Italy's right there with everybody else.
Yeah.
Like there's no other than France. There's no other team that you say, "Oh my God, no." So. And Italy's good, man, and they have a great. I think they have one of the best midfields in the tournament.
Yeah,
it's a little, and our defense is not. The defense is not as good as just previously, but I think we can do some damage. Damage.
Absolutely. And Antonio, you and I were talking, and obviously with France in mind, and we were saying. This Italy team can go with any of them, and it'll just be interesting to see when they play those top sides because Mancini's men have been used to maintaining the possession and really controlling a lot. When they have to sacrifice that possession and it evens out or even the scales tip to the opponent, it'll be interesting to see then how this team approaches and plays. But your thoughts on the Azzurri leading up to the Euros?
Yeah, I was actually just going to say we were discussing that. I think for the first time ever, I'm excited to watch Italy, and I mean that in the utmost respect because you would usually consider the Italian team to obviously be solid in defence, not give anything away, and make it for a nerve-wracking watch. But this team's different. They've played with such a high intensity. There's loads of energy. Obviously, the ball retention's great, but even just the energy and the excitement around the place. I mean, obviously they've got gifted footballers, but I've always said if you could be a gifted footballer, but if you don't apply yourself and put energy into your performance, you're just as good as a normal player. I think for the first time in a long time, Italy, there's that excitement round about them. They look as if you're desperate to watch them to see what they can do. But I think Mancini's done a phenomenal job, and I don't see them playing any other style of football, regardless of the opposition. It's a kind of rock and roll approach, and it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's nice to see such an incredible turnaround that Mancini's done with the Azzurri, especially after what Ventura did. So, yeah, the turnaround's been fantastic, and the midfield. I love this midfield that the Azzurri have, man. And
it kills me, Brent. It kills me because every time I see Barella play, he could have been playing for Juventus.
He might be back at Juventus one day, Francisco. Don't worry.
I hope so. Maybe Inter should be more broke so we can buy him.
Oh, listen, Inter. Sorry, Merda. I hate that name, Inter. They've sold their soul to win one Scudetto. They've sold their soul. We've seen what's happened. Conte's left. I say so. I think there'll be a lot of players in the next couple of years leave that side. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. So incredible midfield. Hopefully one of those guys joins Juve soon in Locatelli. But high anticipation on this team. Immobile scored a goal against the Czechs there. A lot of it's going to depend on getting this guy firing for this tournament, I feel, for the Azzurri. Chiesa, eyes on our boy. Chiesa in the tournament.
Yeah.
To see how if he can keep that fantastic form he's had for Juve going. I fully anticipate that. Lorenzo Insigne. Seen a lot of tweets about Insigne as of late after Czech Republic, where some fans say he's overrated and some say he's underrated. And Insigne has been this guy for me that I kind of like. I like him. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's anything crazy. And it is just interesting. I just want to get your guys' take on Insigne.
I think that for Napoli, he's a great player, and obviously when Maradona passed away, I remember I saw a play that he did, and I'm not comparing them.
Yeah.
There's no comparison, but I saw a play that he did as he scored a goal. I thought it was against Fiorentina, and he did a play that the commentary were saying like it was like watching Maradona play. And for Napoli fans, I know we're competitive and all that, but he's a great player for them. And he's a captain. He's a great player. Do I think that he's at the top of the food chain in European football? No, but he has a lot of quality, and I think he has suffered under bad managers sometimes, because under bad systems. Because when he had good managers, like when they were playing with Sarri, or when they were playing with Gattuso this season, which I think he did a good job with Napoli. He was good, and he has all the talents in the world. For me, the main criticism for me is that on the big games he doesn't appear sometimes. But as a player, you cannot question his talent, because he has a lot of talent.
Yeah. Antonio, your thoughts on Insigne?
Yeah, I think talent is a very talented footballer. I think Napoli, with all due respect to Napoli, I think that's his level. I think the year when Sarri had them, when he had Napoli purring, it was an exceptional player to watch. But the system helped him a lot. He was always put on a 1v1. Obviously opportunity, and he's one of the best in the league 1v1. I think with the Italian national side, he's a different player altogether. I think he's more consistent. With Napoli, he drifts in and out of games. As Francisco says, in the big games, sometimes you don't even know he's playing till the commentator mentions his name. But with the Italian team, and thank God, he plays. I think he plays much better.
Yeah. It's so Mars coming in here saying that he feels this will be Insigne's tournament this year. I want to ask you guys, for Italy, who is going to be the player of the tournament for Italy, if you had to make an early prediction right now?
Barella
from Francisco.
Yeah.
Antonio.
Yeah.
He does everything.
Barella, unfortunately, yeah.
He does what does Barella doesn't do? I saw him. I saw him riding a bike here in Puerto Rico, and I was like, "Damn, you do that too?" So like, no, he does everything.
If you saw Barella there, how come you weren't planting seeds about coming to Juve?
Oh, I told him. Believe me, I told him. I'll buy you a house here in Puerto Rico if you go.
Peter Balistreri coming in saying Chiesa. So I think it's going to be between those guys. I think it's going to be between Insigne, Chiesa, Barella for me, for who's going to be the guy in the tournament. If I had to...
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a midfielder. Because
what's that?
I think for Italy, in order for Italy to compete with the biggest national teams or teams, their midfield needs to be at their best. And I think that the crucial players on this team are going to be the midfielders. Obviously, the strikers has to play well and the defenders have to play well. But the strength of this team and the style of this team goes all around the midfielders. And frankly, for me, even though I love Locatelli and I want him to play for Juventus, Barella is the best midfielder that Italy has right now. He does it all.
I think Insigne makes it all kind of click up top, and he'll be crucial.
Yeah.
my heart wants to say Chiesa, but I think it's more Insigne and Barella. If I had to pick, like gun to my head, biggest impact player of the tournament for the Azzurri, I'd go Barella. I think Barella's going to be the one that'll do it. The other guys in the middle will give him the freedom to get involved and do that damage.
Yeah.
Who do you think are all the guys? Obviously, Verratti's struggling with injuries just now, but arguably, what's our best midfield? I would say I'll kick it off: Verratti, Jorginho, and Barella. I think that's if they're all fit, that's the three that will start in midfield.
Yeah,
I don't think Locatelli will start. I think Jorginho, and rightfully so, he was fantastic for Chelsea this year, and obviously his confidence will be sky high. So,
and I saw that. I saw actually Eric from our team. I saw him tweet on Twitter saying he's not sure what Jorginho does and why he's even out there. You know, LOL type thing. Jorginho does a lot. Of where he's great defensively. It's underrated how he intercepts a lot of plays. He breaks up a lot of plays. He's good at pressing too. He's very fast. He does a lot of work that it just doesn't show. Like you got to watch him and see it and whatnot. And he's good at moving the ball too. So it's like he does his part for sure. And I think the chemistry that those three have built is one of the bigger things that would maybe push Locatelli out, is because Locatelli hasn't had enough time to get in there like Verratti and Barella and Jorginho, who have been the heart of this incredible run. They're on 27 games unbeaten or whatnot. They've really been the mold in that middle. You've seen Sensi appear in there. We've seen as of late Locatelli because Verratti's been injured or whatnot. But if all guys are fit, I'm with you, Antonio. That's my midfield. Francisco. Yeah. All guys are fit. Who's your middle?
Oh, that's the mid. If everybody's healthy, that's my mid. But I wanted to ask: is Pellegrini is in the team, right?
Lorenzo Pellegrini is in.
Okay,
fantastic.
That's how good the midfield of Italy is.
Yeah,
like you have players like Pellegrini, Pessina is also there, and you have players like Pessina. Locatelli, Pellegrini, they are not even starters. The midfield for Italy is good. And none of them are playing for Juve. What are we doing around here, man?
That's true.
I put that message out there when they said Szczesny would possibly go to Roma and we were going to bring Florenzi. I said, bring in Lorenzo Pellegrini. Like let's work a deal here.
But that guy, he's gonna be for Roma what Insigne is for Napoli.
See, the thing is, Francisco, that's where I understand what you're saying, but that's where I disagree. I've always said the top teams in their respective countries, for example, Bayern Munich, you touched on that. If Bayern Munich want a German player, a young player, they'll go and get him. Juventus, if they want a Italian player, they'll go and get him. It's about wanting these players. They all want to play for Juventus. They all want to play for Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. Juventus being the top team in the country should be banking on these players that we've just mentioned. Because Juventus, I know the most successful times of Juventus, I've always had that connection with Azzurri. 2006, we won the World Cup. That was one of the best Juventus sides I've seen. We had so many Juventus players playing in that final. 1983, the Juventus team that dominated the 80s, they won the World Cup. They beat Brazil, they won the World Cup, you know. So it's just, I've always said, we need to, all these names we've just mentioned, Pellegrini, I've still said Zaniolo wouldn't have been a Juve player if it wasn't for his injury. So
Zaniolo.
I think we should be bringing these players in 100%. Barella, why can't we go and get him? We've got the money, we've got the reputation. Go and get him. Just name the price, go and buy him instead of buying these maybe 50, 60 million players that nobody knows of. And it's just my opinion, as I say.
And that's why I think it's such a nice thing for us Juventini to watch the Azzurri, because we can actually enjoy a midfield now.
We were
the Azzurri will kick it off with Turkey. Then they're going to play Switzerland.
Underrated team.
and then Wales.
Underrated team, Turkey. Turkey is not a walk on the park because
Well,
Demiral is
here's
gonna
the
be
thing.
treated.
This is what I said. Like this group
Yeah.
it's a tricky group. Switzerland's, they could create some problems, but Italy should beat
Yeah.
Switzerland.
No, Italy
Italy
is the favorite. It's the
Turkey, Italy should
Yeah.
beat Turkey. Italy should beat Wales. They should beat all three teams. But Turkey can create problems. They stifled France. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
They
Turkey,
stifled
They're
France.
very physical.
They're
Yeah,
very
physical
strong.
team.
They're very strong.
Yeah.
They remind
And
me
they
a lot
got
of
our very own Mary Demiral in there that's going to create some issues. And then Juventini, he might really piss you off, and you might really want to sell him if he creates some issues for us there. So,
He's gonna be a bastard. The bastard for Turkey. No.
and then we're going to play against Wales, and Aaron Ramsey, he's going
Injured.
to probably
He's-
go off
Oh,
and have
no,
a game, and
no.
then we'll be like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, you just know that Aaron Ramsey's going to be fucking man of the match that game. He's going to be running
No.
at the 93rd minute.
Hat-trick.
You just know
Hat-trick. Yeah, it's gonna be.
100%.
He's gonna look like Maradona on his prime when he was in Napoli. He's
Yeah.
gonna keep killing everybody, like nobody. Italy's gonna have to assign 3 players to defend Aaron Ramsey, and he's gonna destroy them all. It's gonna be like,
Yes.
oh, fuck up.
Exactly.
Oh man, no, I have full faith the Azzurri will get things done. I got a lot of faith. I love the work Mancini's doing. Incredible midfield. We touched on that. The attacking options. We just need one of those 9s to catch fire. It's going to be Immobile that's going to get the nod. He needs to catch fire. No more missing sitters. Insigne will have to make things tick up top, and Chiesa could be that wild card, that luxury attacker up top there. Francisco.
Quick question for you guys. I know everybody talks about Immobile because he won the Golden Boot. Who do you like more, Immobile or Belotti? I'm more a Belotti guy.
Yeah,
Me, that's
Belotti,
what
100%. I would agree with you, Belotti. Yeah, he's more of a. He's got more balls about him. You know what I mean? I know it sounds silly, but I think Immobile is just at that level. He lacks something.
I like Belotti more in terms of his game, and he's, I think, more rounded. But if I had to choose right now, I would probably lean towards Immobile because I think Belotti had a really my confidence isn't there with him this particular season. I think he needs to leave Torino.
Yeah, but
for
exactly.
us to
Like,
get the
that's
best
not
out of
fair.
Belotti.
That's not fair to him because he's playing Torino, and Torino is just.
Well, he
playing.
doesn't have to come to Juve.
Oh no, he doesn't have to.
No.
I think he's gonna
He's
be.
probably just at the beach around the corner from you, Francisco. Just go tell him.
Yeah, I'm coming here right now. Get your ass to Juventus.
So,
come on.
I think, and Marzeda coming in here with Belotti is a better player. Yeah, do we have the confidence to go with him now? And it may be unfair to him, like you say, because he's playing for Torino, but I don't know. But the problem is both of them for the Azzurri, neither one of them has grabbed the bull by the horns and taken that 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Neither one of them has really just taken it over.
But I think Belotti works harder than Immobile. He does more when he doesn't have the ball and he tries to defend and then he goes back. That's something that is important to me because we talk about Icardi, that he doesn't do anything with this, he doesn't have the ball. But Belotti does a lot when he doesn't have the ball. And that's something that Italy, with that midfield, midfield is good, but it's not very physically strong.
Look at this bombshell from Peter Balotelli. Our strikers are average. I'd take Balotelli over both of them. Straight out of Monza. Woo!
Well, he beat Germany.
Peter, I don't know where you're tuning in from, but I would assume it's past 5 and you're probably having a few beverages here.
I'll just quickly before I go, how many goals did Morata finish on this season?
Oh, yeah, 20.
Told you.
Antonio made the call. He said he's going to finish. And he just squeaked in there, too, you bastard.
Oh my God. He had to say it. He had to say it.
If you've got any more predictions, guys, I'm here all week. Just ask.
Oh my God!
Peter's coming through to us from Australia. No, Peter, that's great. I love all the comments and everything. Balotelli, though, eh? Balotelli. Mars coming in with Immobile is rewarded for playing with Milinkovic, Savic, and Luis Alberto with the club. And you know what? This is where I stand with the club, with the Azzurri. Is neither one of them have just taken the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
We watched a match, Italy against Poland, not too long ago, and I had to laugh because you're watching polar opposites. You're watching a team in Poland with a great 9, incredible 9, and nothing else. And then you're watching Italy that needs a killer number 9 and has everything else really settled, put in place. And it's funny. But I do believe your matches, like this is the big thing for the Azzurri is the midfield. Games are won and lost in the middle of the park.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And we've got a midfield that I would put up there with any of the other nations. And I know France is loaded. France has a deadly squad. The Azzurri can play with France.
Yeah, because we've got the tempo. We've got the tempo. That's a massive thing.
Our midfield is on par with France. I believe that the only player that is different that nobody else has is in the sense of that France have that nobody else is Kante. You cannot work with that guy. Like guy runs 5 hours straight and he doesn't sweat. It's crazy. But on the other sense, I'll put up Italy's midfield against every other midfield in the tournament.
Yeah,
and I put Italy's midfield against any other midfield on the world, and I think Italy's midfield can compete. So, in that sense,
it's going to be an incredible tournament. Looking forward to it. For everybody that's joining us, make sure you stay tuned. We're going to do match day lives on the days the Azzurri play, kicking off with Friday, the 11th, against the Turks and Demiral. Match day live, and then, of course, a post-match podcast where we'll break down the Azzurri's games. Thanks, everybody who's tuned into this one live. Thanks for the great guests. We lost Kahir there. But I'm sure Francisco will see him soon on the beach in Puerto Rico because that's where everybody's going. That's the place to be. We're gonna I'll put in the comment section too Francisco's number. We're just gonna air it out there so everybody can just reach Francisco. He's the hookup when you get to Puerto Rico. He's the man. El Presidente, everybody.
DJ Francisco in the house.
There you go. Antonio, Francisco, always a pleasure, brothers. And thanks everybody who tuned in. Please like the video. Drop your comments on anything we discussed and subscribe. We're less than 50 away from 1K. Thank you everybody for the continued support. And make sure you check out the sponsor, Striped Hearts Apparel. Ton of designs focused on Juve and Azzurri gear to get ready for Euros. Ciao tutti. Forza Juve, fino alla fine, and Forza Azzurri. Ciao.